The Titanic clock ticking backwards again. Frantic search to find the missing Titanic tourist submarine. We are now going to speak to the man who was there. Let's cross now live without further ado to Dallas, Texas. Dr. Michael Guillen, scientist, journalist, author, who again was there, stuck at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean in a submersible 20 years ago. Dr. Michael Guillen, first and foremost, thank you so much for speaking to us on this day. I can only imagine what you're going through. No other way to put it, reliving your own near-death experience.
Ellie, it's forcing me, this story is forcing me to relive the hell that I went through, and it's painful. But the reason I'm doing the interviews, and we're getting interview requests literally, not figuratively, from all over the world, is because I want people to understand the seriousness of going down to the Titanic. I hear words like tourism. You know what? This is not a Disneyland ride, okay? If you want tourism, go to Disneyland. But this is, number one, a very serious endeavor to go to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. And number two, it's not just the wreck of a ship. It's a graveyard. It's sacred ground. People lost their lives down there. And so I just want people to understand that, and to understand that I was able, by the grace of God, to survive my wreck, because when we went down there, we toured the bow of the ship. It was fine, no problem. But you know, when the Titanic sank, it broke into two pieces.
Right.
The bow went straight down, the stern did a somersault, landed on its back. So when we were going from the bow to the stern, my eye caught sight of the propeller. It's this big, beautiful thing, very shiny, stands out. And then I noticed that our submersible was going faster than it should be. I thought, why isn't the pilot slowing down? We're going to this giant propeller bigger than our submarine, our submersible. And then I later discovered that we had a bad luck, that we got caught in a very strong underwater current. Yes, currents like that do exist at the bottom of the Atlantic, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it smashed us right behind the blades. And I knew immediately from the collision and the big pieces of Titanic falling on us that we were in a life and death situation. It was very serious.
Dr. Guillen, excuse me if it sounds like a question for dummies, but many people are wondering, once it happens, isn't anything that people on submarine can do, no exit door, so to speak, no plan B?
That's the problem, Ellie. That's the problem. You think, if you're in your car and you get stuck in the mud, you call AAA here in the United States, right? Then they'll tow you out. The tow truck, boom, you're out. You're home and have dinner with your family. When you're stuck 2.5 miles down, figure 2.5 miles of water above you. Let that sink in for a moment. There's nobody around you. You're in the middle of the North Atlantic, one of the most remote parts of the Atlantic Ocean. It's cold, the pressure. You want to know how big the pressure? We painted this cup before I dove. Yeah. And then we took a similar cup like this outside my sub, and this is what came back. This little cup has been to the Titanic. It squeezed all the air out of this cup, and this is what it ends up. So this is a very serious matter when I say, can you imagine what it does to a human being? You cannot, there's no, look, we were warned by the captain before we dove that people, when they panic in a situation like this, will go for the escape hatch thinking, because they're not really thinking, they're panicking, that they're going to get out. Well, all they do is bring in the ocean and boom, it's over for them. I knew that there was another submersible in the area where we were when we got stuck. And I started thinking, my scientific brain, because I'm a scientist, I'm an intellectual, I'm thinking, okay, we got a problem. There has to be a solution. So I'm thinking, okay, how much oxygen? Could maybe he tow us out, a chain with a claws, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, 10, 15 minutes later, I hit a brick wall. I said, no, as smart as I am, I can't think of a way out of here. So no, there's no, and these poor people, these 5 beautiful souls that are on board this Titan, this was a ship designed for tourism. The one I was in was designed for scientific research. It was a serious submarine. It had been time tested. This one, not so much. But they're down there and they're bolted in. So right now, the reports are that the sonar is picking up sounds, and that I've been saying all along from day one, Ellie, that even if they had a catastrophic communications failure, they can just bang on the insides of their submarine. Generate noise. Noise travels beautifully through the ocean. Noise travels beautifully through the salty water. That's why whale songs can go halfway around the world. And I knew that the rescuers were listening. Is anybody there? And so now they have heard the sounds. We don't know what's generating or who's generating these sounds. Maybe it's the people, which is a good sign. They're alive. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a transponder sending out a ping, ping, ping.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it's something just banging, banging, banging. We don't know. But if they can locate them, then what? The French are sending in one of their vessels, one of the few vessels in the world that can, in fact, go to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
But if you locate them, you grab them maybe, can it bring it up? Such a big, relatively big
So locating them, it doesn't end there. Once, hopefully, they will be located. Dr. Guillen, unfortunately, we need to let you go shortly. So before we do, again, one of the only few people walking this planet who's actually been down there and now up here with us. What is going through their minds now?
Well, at best, they have to be, let's put it mildly, they know the clock is ticking, Ellie.
Yeah.
The strongest among them are holding it together. There's a father and a son. I'm sure the father is trying to hold it together for his son. It just breaks my heart, Ellie.
Yeah.
It's I've been there. I'm living this hell with them because I was there and back. I was fortunate enough to return. I'm still praying for a miracle. It's not over yet. But I can only imagine that these people are literally realizing that they're buried alive. They are buried alive under 2.5 miles of ocean.